Welcome to today's episode of Diaspora News International. If this is your first time here, I welcome you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And at the end of the commentary, I would really appreciate if you could drop your comments down below. Thank you. Now today I really, as you can see, I'm wearing black. I don't think it's a coincidence that, I'm wearing black. I didn't wear it because of this topic, but, I just sat down to rest after just going out for an hour's drive or so with my husband, and we came back and there was this news playing on, it's been in the news, but today I really sat down to listen to the chat that Parana had with the father of this young girl who was essayed by a so-called apostle, one of those, your bishops, your pastors, your reverends, and all these kind of people, essaying a 14-year-old girl. And in fact, listening to the story, he's been grooming her since she was 13, and she wasn't the only one. Another girl narrowly escaped, but unfortunately, this particular case in point, this other girl got to her a day late because he'd already committed his dastardly act. And just after listening to a quarter of it, I'd had enough. I just told my husband, I've had enough. They've wrecked my appetite. I can't even eat. I'm leaving. Nigerians should be up in arms. Where are all these human rights lawyers going about, just fighting over, mundane, stupid issues that don't matter to anyone, Where are the Aisha Yesufus, or is it only Akpoti and high political flyers that she knows how to run around, follow around, pretending with her pretend gear that she's a northerner when she's actually a one-man 419 squad from the east. These are the kind of cases that you people should be out there enraged. And people with two gray cells to rub together, to quote my dear friend Brandon Lehman, any person with two gray cells to rub together should be outraged by what has happened to this girl. Now, I was more outraged when I heard that, it took the family a long time to actually conceive of this girl, and she was an only child. And only for this buffoon, I don't know what description to give a so-called apostle, bishop, reverend, general, all these your big mighty titles, who dances as if he's an Atilogu dancer, or like Ibiome, just dancing hopelessly, to take the innocence of this girl, this only child. Even if she wasn't an only child, it wouldn't even matter. It's so painful. I feel so pained. Like, honestly, anyway, let me not just go into there. Like, it's, where's the outrage from the public? Where is the outrage from anyone with a daughter, a niece, a cousin, a wife? Where is the outrage? Where is the outrage from the other pastors, the generals, the God knows what, the field marshals that you people have in your churches? Where is the outrage? Where is the outrage? And the father of this girl had to go through all these things alone, made to pay stuff in the hospital, and look, every facet of this whole thing. I said, anyway, General Parana doesn't like the police. Well, not all of them, but especially the head. I tease my husband all the time. Egbetokun or Agbetokun, whatever his name is, and the PR man for the police, Adejobi, I think they do a poor job. Okay, I'm pretty sure there are very, very good policemen out there doing a really, really nice job. Okay, but we don't see it. We don't see it because when this case got to the police, even the way it was handled, it was just, oh my God. It's like it's the father to prove that his daughter was assaulted. It's like it was his case to prove when it wasn't, and it was clear that this man has been grooming this girl since she was 13. And if I were the police or the investigators, I'll seize his phone, seize the phones of his assistants, go back years, and I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be surprised if they find boys and girls that this guy has done horrible, horrible, horrific things to in any other country with reasonable people with good sense. We will all be outraged. We'll be up in arms. I don't mean take arms. I mean, we will just be out there screaming for justice for this girl. Now, with Parana, the part I didn't like was, actually showing the face of the father, because now you've exposed who this child is. Whoever knows this man knows that it's his child. It's not like he's got 10 girls. He's got only one child, okay? And on the father's side, like, he called her name, and I'm like, my God, who does this? Why should you call her name? You can just say my child. And I think his face should have been blurred so that, people don't make linkages. And he called other names. That's the only place where I fault the whole show. The father, calling the girl by name. And then there was the principal. Oh, my heart. If I was in any position of authority in that country, if I was in charge of, just anything, that man is fired, straight, fired. The girl came into his office and he told her to get out simply because this Paedo is his spiritual father. So it means that if your spiritual father murders someone, sometimes I think it's even better to be murdered than for your innocence to be so stolen. And the people have the temerity to try and bribe the police. And the police actually took it. Because the father stated in that interview that before you could say Jack Robinson, this creature from the pit of hell was out again. And then sending, delegations to come and try and make peace. And one of those people that came with them, I hope to God, Adejobi and your boss, Egbetokun, or whatever his name is, that wasn't a real policeman. Because that person came with an AK-14. Is that how you settle, out of court or wherever? This case should have nothing to do with settling out of court, okay? It should be a state case. The police should take, like the federal prosecutor or whoever should take it up as a case. Look at the father spending money, running tests, even the forensics of this whole thing. I'm just shaking my head. Took samples. And then the father was the one who went to the lab, got the test tubes and the swab thing and brought it to the doctor who took the blood. And then the father had to take it back by himself. And in the first place, to do the examination, the doctor examined the girl by himself, a male doctor, to a child who has just been essayed. Come on, where is the medical board? Where is the ethics? Nowhere else is it done like that. There has to be a female in that place And she doesn't have to be a police or a doctor. She could be a nurse, she could be an attendant, just anyone. And I'm not casting aspersion on the doctor at all. And I'm just talking about basic forensic methods of, examining a minor whose innocence has been taken. Okay, let's just say there are no rules in that place. Everybody does, what they want. The father taking the sample to the lab himself, he should have been accompanied by the police. Look, there were so many things wrong with this case. I couldn't stand it. I just left my husband and I said, look, I'm going to just add my voice to this. This is it's so disheartening. Like, I feel like, I've got a daughter, okay? Even I wish she was there. She would drag his behind to court and make sure he stays there forever, never to essay anybody again. Male, female, married, child, whatever, maybe even animals, who knows? Like, I'm so ticked. Of course, you can see it. And these people are sickos. And, the funny thing is that many of them are bound out there, but they are so in cahoots with the authorities. They are in cahoots with the police. They are in cahoots with just about every and anybody of influence. So for a low person to, the threshold to get them put behind bars, I don't know what you have to do. Like, they have to literally, murder Bola Ahmed Tinubu for them to get behind bars. Because anybody below that, there's always their way around. And the peace mission people coming with an AK-47, what was that for? What was that for? I just told my husband, I wish I had my Glock. There's no concealed carry in this country. But otherwise, this creature, he doesn't even look like a human being. I mean, look at him. He doesn't look like a human being. This creature will be put permanently where he belongs. Okay? And if he ever sees the light of day in this country, that's the day I will, be like that bad enough woman and say, goodbye, Nigeria. I'm no longer a citizen, okay? And it was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. No church is mentioning it. No hue and cry. Nothing. It's like there's a conspiracy of silence. And that tells me one thing, that this kind of behavior is actually very rampant in a lot of the churches. Parents, be warned. Children, please be careful. If your papa, your GO, your bishop, your general, your apostle should contact you directly, just either take it to your parents or just tell them to contact your parents. You're not allowed to talk to anyone without their consent. That's all I can say for now. Nigerians, please rise up, rise up, rise up in defense of this young, defenseless girl whose innocence has been stolen by this creature from the dark. This creature from the dark. And I hope the authorities do the right thing and put him away. Never, never, ever to see the light of day. Thank you.